Am I the asshole for not becoming a signature on my future husband's business accounts? Update. We are okay. We sat down and had a nice long conversation about things, and a lot of it was a matter of communication, as one person on here mentioned. We are both on the same page and have a complete understanding of expectations. And we both have a understanding of each other. I explained to him that I can't leave my job. I reminded him that my job is my insurance, retirement, and after we get married, his insurance coverage. I also reminded him that I needed to keep my job so that we can make sure that all of our bills are paid and food on the table. It's going to be a while until he is turning a profit. He understood this completely. We worked out a schedule and we are going to work things out so that I can work from home if I need to. He understands that he needs to be able to learn how to do things like estimates, invoicing and receiving payments, or that we need to come up with a system. I told him that this is a lot of extra time and I need to draw a paycheck. He said that he knew I needed to be paid and that he had the intentions of paying me. This was again a communication issue. I know I'm not going to make a lot. But it will be okay. As for the signature issue, I'm not going to do it. And he agreed with this and understands my reasoning. We will do the signature stamp and we are going to set aside time during the week to go over the books and for him to understand everything. He had a certain mindset of how couples work and how married couple, being straight, gay, lesbian, whatever the case may be. They have joint bank accounts, they co-mingle their finances, and he figured that was how this was going to be. I told him later. Maybe once we are married. But not right now. And if anyone is asking, he is living with me and now he does not live with me for free. I get money weekly from him to go towards our finances and bills. This situation reminds me of a discussion I had in one of my classes when I was doing my bachelor's. The question was asked, how do people get into trouble with their businesses? How do their books become such a mess and why do they let it happen? As my instructor at the time pointed out, people go into business to do something they love or are passionate about. Not to manage their books. They get so wrapped up in what they are doing that a lot of times they will just do the basics and forget about everything else. I understand this completely. I have seen it more times than I can remember. My future husband is just lucky enough to have someone that understands all of this and that I love what I do. It's not my passion. My own passion is creative writing and working with animals. But what I do is something that I love to do as a career. I believe that we will be okay. He has a strong business plan, our location for the company is perfect. Thank you all for your responses. I have read all of them and I will try to respond as I can. It's Saturday and I'm trying to get all my stuff from the week done. /////// Characters. Myself Op, M45, and future husband FH, M45. For context, FH loves motorcycles and has been wanting to start his own custom shop. So aside from dealing with the BAM, my boyfriend and I have one issue that until tonight is now becoming a major issue. His dream was to start his own business. He loves motorcycles and has 2 Harleys and a Ninja. So he has been wanting to open his own custom Harley and chopper shop. He was recently able to do this. We found the location and drew up the business plan. He was approved for the loan and we are moving forward. I knew I was going to be active with this business. I have my bachelor's with a double major in accounting and human resource management, and I work for a global corporation in financial accounting and I manage all of our house finances. So I knew I was going to be doing all of his bookkeeping for his company. Here is where the problem is coming in. I refuse to be a signature on his bank accounts for this business for a couple of reasons. 1. This is his business. I have no financial investment into this. He put up his own savings and money and the loan is in his name only. 2. I have no issues doing the books and keeping the office, but he needs to be active in this as well. I have no problems paying the bills, but I want him to have some idea of what is going on, and by forcing him to sign all the checks and sign off on all the deposits, and he knows what's coming in and what's going out. 3. We are not married yet. We are planning on actually getting married this summer. 4. All of our finances are kept separate. I bought my house and car before we were a couple and he isn't on any of my papers. Our bank accounts are separate and will be that way for a little bit yet. The only thing we did do was put a note on file saying that the bank has permission to speak to me if I have any questions or issues that need to be discussed. But that was it, and we have a debit card for the business that allows me to make purchases. This hasn't really been an issue until tonight when I went up to do some work on site and I handed him a couple of checks for bills I needed him to sign, and he brought up the conversation about me being added to the bank accounts again, so I can just do this without any issue. Again, I told him that I was not going to do this and listed above reasons. He said this was crazy and I just needed to get over myself and be added. I came up with the idea of how about a signature stamp. I copy the blank check, and copy the printed check with the signature stamp, and that way he knows what was done. I told him again that this was his business and I was uncomfortable with being a signature with something that was not mine. That maybe later on down the line it will be a conversation. But not right now. For some reason this has really gotten under his skin and he hasn't said much all night. So am I the asshole for not wanting to be added to the bank accounts for his business? All the many years I was a bookkeeper, I was never a signatory on any of the business accounts. It was that way in every law firm I worked at. Only the partners signed checks. Not the asshole, for so many reasons. It sounds like he just wants you to shoulder more of the work burden. He doesn't seem to understand that this comes with some risks to you as well. Don't do it. Not the asshole, you have separate finances, aren't married and don't want to be a signatory. Any one of those is a reasonable reason. How will the profits be divided? You need to make that clear, in writing if necessary. Not the asshole. But given your decorated credentials, there's an opportunity to underscore how to win spouse and influence people underscore here. Instead of saying you're uncomfortable with the signature, you can reframe it that he should be the final decision maker on all things finance related. Remember those RACI matrix? You are happy being an advisor, but you want to make sure that he has the final call and eventually grow his financial muscles. It's a table stake as a business owner, otherwise it would just be a hobby. What would happen if I, knock on wood, got hit by a bus? Good luck with the money and relationship. Would I be the asshole if I ask my neighbors to keep their basketball in the garage? My husband and I have a great relationship with our next-door neighbors. We moved to the neighborhood at the same time, have similar careers and interests. We don't hang out, but we always chat a bit when we see each other out. We occasionally do small favors for each other, let the dog out, bring their mail in, share appliances when something is getting repaired, etc. Now, they are super sporty and often practice various sports with their two sons in the driveway and street. Up until recently, the only equipment they left out was the basketball net at the end of their driveway. This is all good, they have a great time, and sometimes my husband and our toddler, 1.5M, will watch them or join in. However, lately they've been leaving out this black basketball. It just sits on the base of the net 24/7 except when they're using it. My son is obsessed with balls, and has developed a fascination with this particular one. It is visible from our playroom, master bedroom, and dining room, as well as the front hall and driveway. If we are playing and he notices it, he will go over to the window and start pointing at it and asking for it. If we go out for a walk, he wants to go over and pick it up. Attempts to redirect him are rarely successful, and it often leads to full-on meltdowns when we tell him he can't have it. My husband is of the opinion that this is good for him, to learn he can't always have things he wants and that some things belong to other people. I am okay with that, except that I'm also the one who gets to deal with the meltdowns 4/5 times, including almost every day wrestling the child into his car seat to go to daycare as he screams for Babu. In my opinion, we have plenty of other chances to teach him the same lesson, just on a more infrequent basis. I have suggested that we could ask the neighbors if they would mind keeping the ball in their garage, along with all their other sports gear. I think they would be understanding, but my husband thinks I would be the asshole to want them to change what they do with their stuff on their property just because our kid is being a tantrumy toddler. Edit. Alright. Seems the verdict is that I'm the fair enough. Couple things to clarify, since I noticed some confusion. I haven't asked yet. This has been going on for 2 weeks and I have been dealing with the tantrums and working with my son on learning that he can't have the ball. But I'm 6 months pregnant and dealing with insomnia, so these tantrums are just a lot. I figured it was one thing I could potentially do to reduce the load, kind of like baby-proofing the view. Also, I wasn't going to insist or be pushy or anything. My thought was literally just to ask if they would consider keeping it in the garage. If they'd said no, I would have said okay and that would have been the end of it. Edit 2. Response Boogaloo. To everyone staying we should buy him his own. Let me list off the reasons that won't work. A. Teaches him that tantrums get him what he wants, not a good lesson. B. Original ball will still be there, odds are he'll still want it. C. It's a full-size hard basketball, not a good toy for in the house. D. He already has several balls and a net. None of these have yet swayed his devotion to the black basketball. Also, I'm not avoiding parenting. We deal with these tantrums and every other tantrum he throws. We are teaching him the meaning of no and that some things belong to other people and he can't have them. I have no intention of asking other people to accommodate his wants aside from this one specific circumstance. The only reason I'm considering it now is that A. It is so frequent and affects a lot of our daily activities, and B. It seems like a very small thing to request from the neighbors, not out of line with other favors and such we've asked each other before. Your husband is right. Your child, even as young as he is, needs to learn he can't always have things he wants. You are the asshole for wanting to ask your neighbors to hide their basketball. Why don't you and your husband actually buy your child his own black basketball? Nah, you can ask them to keep the basketball in garage and that's fine. But if they say no, then you need to drop it. If you push it, then you are the asshole. You can just buy your kid a black basketball and solve the problem. YWBTA. You can't ask people to change the world around you just to avoid temper tantrums. It's far too entitled. Buy your kid a black basketball. You can even buy a mini one so he can take it on walks or in the car. YWBTA. If you ask them, do something different, but do not ask your neighbors to hide their stuff because of your kid. I know it can be frustrating when your kid is acting up, but you have to find a different approach. How about if you get him a plush ball or something that he can carry around at all times? Will that be enough to stop the tantrums? Am I the asshole for not switching shifts with my coworker? I, 28F, am the newest in an office of women who've been there at least 2+ years. My coworker E has just came back from maternity leave and so far has had all her schedule change requests approved, even if I didn't get a say in my shift being switched. E sent me a text the other day asking me to switch a few days this month, which would have me go from working at 10 a.m. to working at 2 p.m. Normally I'm okay with working that shift, but I have a 7 a.m. shift the following day and my boss won't allow us to work shifts that close together. I'm also not willing to give up the 7 a.m. as that's my work Friday and it gives me more time to do homework. I spend my weekends doing all my homework since I work and go to school full time. I told her I could work one of the 3 shifts because I have the next day off and I'd be able to make that work better, but the other 2 I'd have to decline. I thought that would be the end of it, but it turns out that E went to our boss and said she needed those days for her daycare schedule and our boss switched all 5 days for the month so E can work days and I'm working swing. When I came into work I was immediately upset when seeing the schedule change and asked my boss if I could speak to her privately. When I told her it wasn't okay that he asked me to switch and I declined, but she had the days changed anyway. My boss responded with, "Well, do you have anything planned on those days?" And said no, but tried to explain why I like the days shift on my Fridays. She then asked me point blank if I'm refusing to switch and I said yes. She said she would switch them back for me when she gets back from vacation. I'm a kind person, almost to a fault, and if she had said she needed to switch for daycare I probably would have guilted myself into switching, but after she went behind my back I refused to help her. Am I the asshole? Edit to add some info for your questions. Yes, there are a couple others who could have switched her instead of me, but they've been there for 5+ years so their schedules never change. Mine is the one that seems to change every month, then get adjusted to accommodate other people's schedules. I had all days off for May until my other coworker H needed them for her kids, then I got switched to swing. The 5 days E was given were my only day shifts left. This isn't the first time this has happened because of E, and while I can't assume she did it maliciously, I had a gut feeling that this would happen and checked my schedule when I first got to work on my Monday. I was previously told about an incident involving E at work that made me question her character as it was a huge violation of HIPAA. We work in healthcare. Just to give context as to why I was uneasy in the first place. I had a day just last week where I came in at 7 a.m. only to have my boss tell me that she forgot to let me know she switched me to the 10 a.m. so E could get off in time for her son's baseball game. It turns out E meant another day and another coworker, but the fact that I wasn't told at all really sucked. Also, working full-time and going to school full-time is really hard when I can't have a set schedule. I'm taking all online classes this semester, but next semester I have in-person classes so this will be even more difficult for me. My days off are easiest for homework because it's the last month of the semester and so my coursework is heavier and more time-consuming. My boss is usually really nice and understanding, but I can definitely tell that she adores E and her new baby. I can't afford to get another job right now as I make pretty good money right now, and in order to cover all my bills I'd need to find a job with the same pay. I'll definitely take your advice and keep an eye out for jobs that pay the same in the meantime though. Not the asshole. And #X200B. You are fine not to switch shifts. Your life is as important as theirs. And #X200B. She then asked me point blank if I'm refusing to switch and I said yes. Standing up for yourself. Well done. Next time say yes, you do have plans. Schoolwork. It's technically true. Not the asshole. In future, if your boss asks you if you're busy or doing anything during your time off, always say yes. Not the asshole. Plans you might have are none of anyone's business. The fact you have plans is enough, and nobody can judge you as to whether they measure up to requesting a shift change or time off. You need to find a new job. If your boss does this without your consent, this is not a work environment you want to be a part of. Am I the asshole for saying that if I have to wear a bra at home so does my dad and brother? For starters, I, F23, have the smallest chest in the family. My brother, M26, and father, M57. Both are a bit on the heavier side, but I have never used that against them before and it's never been a big issue. Last week my parents and brother came over for a surprise visit and I happened to forego wearing a bra since it was just me at home loafing in my room and reading stuff. They wanted to stay a while and chat, have tea in the apartment, so I didn't really see a reason to put on a bra still. Fast forward a while and I noticed my mom is giving me a look. I wasn't wearing anything particularly see-through or thin, it was just a regular graphic tee of my favorite hot sauce and some shorts. My mom told me to go change since it was inappropriate for me to be wearing so little with men in the house. I told her politely at first that I didn't think it was anything weird and I used to wear these exact clothes at our house all the time not that long ago and she never said anything. But then she started going off on a tangent about how I wasn't little anymore and I couldn't get away with having them just swinging around. We argued a bit about it because I really can't be bothered to put on a bra during the weekend when I have no plans on going anywhere, but she kept insisting that I was being a terrible host and exposing myself. My dad and brother were also on her side, brother more reluctantly, and just told me to do what she wants and it wasn't a big deal. I don't know why, but I just felt so done and stressed at this point that I snapped, if I have to wear a bra in my own house because of my chest then so do dad and bro. I could tell right away that my comment made my dad feel hurt, and I did feel immensely guilty afterward, but I still don't think I should have had to put on a bra for a surprise visit when they were going to leave soon anyways. My brother tells me that I took it too far and I should have just either ignored her or changed for that little while they were visiting. My mom also still refuses to talk to me until I apologize for my inappropriate comment. Am I the asshole? Edit. After reading through a lot of the comments, and boy are there a lot more than I thought there'd be, I'd just like to clarify a few things. 1. When I said my brother and dad were backing up my mom, my dad was very vocally backing her up and enforcing this need to wear a bra behavior. He and my mom are just afraid that if I am not wearing a bra when they're around, I probably won't for other guests and that makes me immodest. My brother just sided with them because he already gets on my mom's nerves enough for other reasons so he didn't want to draw any fire. 2. My mom is the type of person who even wears bras to sleep so to her, wearing one really isn't a big deal and she often says that not wearing one will lead to a saggy chest in the future. Her comment wasn't really meant to be a jab at the men's ability to keep it in their pants, it's really just her own thoughts on the matter. That said, thank you for some of the comments also calling me out. I will definitely apologize to my brother and maybe my dad since it was unnecessary to my mom's level. Edit 2. I am not sure if I wasn't clear in the post but I live alone in an apartment away from my parents and brother. It was a recent change though. Not the asshole. I couldn't get away with having them just swinging around. Watch me. Mom. Your tits make either me uncomfortable or your dad or brother. Who knows anymore? Tits are scary even though I have had them my entire life. Brother. My tits are not big. Oh my feelings. Dad. My tits are not big. Oh my feelings. Mom again. Your tits may distribute milk one day, burn the witch. Not the asshole your house, your boobs, your rules. It's simple as that. Plus it's hella gross of your mom to sexualize your boobs to your dad and brother. If your dad's feelings are hurt, maybe he shouldn't back up someone sexualizing his kid in her own damn home. Not the asshole. When will this mindset die already? What was your mother worried about? You're gonna turn your own father or brother on. This needs to stop. Your house, your rules, let them be free. Not the asshole. First, your house, your rules. Second, your body, your choice. I think what you said was perfect, and you shouldn't feel guilty at all.